welcome to today's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where we have a very colourful and interesting looking puzzle for you by Sumanta Mukherjee. Now, Sumanta's appeared on the channel a lot before, and I am a huge admirer of his puzzles. He has one of those brains. I'm trying to think of other good examples. A Spartacus, I think, is another good example. He has a brain that thinks very differently to the conventional person, and therefore he tends to come up with puzzles that are really, really unusual. This totally flummoxed two of our testers. They could not do it at all. And the third tester thought it was absolutely wonderful and just sort of gave it a 10 out of 10 recommendation. So I'm hoping that we'll be able to solve it. It has got a very long rule set, I will tell you that, but most of the rules are very standard. So we shall find out what's going on in just a moment or two. What can I say in the meantime? Not a lot, really. Do check out Dominoes Sudoku, our brand new app. If you've not had a look at it yet, it is fantastic. It's got puzzles in it by some of the great and the good of the Sudoku community. So people like Fistamafeld, people like Clover, people like Codec, Sam Kappelman-Lines. It's just a wonderful, wonderful collection of puzzles. My phone is buzzing, but that's fine. Yeah, it's available on Steam, it's available on Android, it's available on App Store. So that's one thing to mention. Subscribe to the channel, you know, all the usual guff. I'm trying to remember what the name. No, I'm not going to do slap the like button or slap the subscribe button. We don't need to go into those realms on Cracking the Cryptic. This puzzle, by the way, is called Code 912. I was about to say I've got no idea why, but I guess it's the 9 and the 12. Oh, it's in fact the cages are 9s and 12s. So it's something to do with that. But why don't we just kick straight into it? The rules are long. They will take me a while to read. And they are as follows. Normal Sudoku rules apply. In cages, digits must sum to the small clue in the top left corner of the cage. Clues outside the grid give the sum of the digits along the indicated diagonal, and these digits may repeat if allowed by other rules. So what that is telling us is that those 6 cells there sum to 24. Those 6 cells there sum to 16. The coloured dominoes are clones and must contain the identical digit in the identical position, e.g. row 4 column 1, so that cell, is equal to row 1 column 7, which is that cell is equal to presumably that cell, row 7 column 4, yes. So basically imagine that this was, I don't know, a 4-5 pair I was going to say, but then press 3. So if this was a 4-5 pair, that would have to be a 4-5 pair, and that would have to be a 4-5 pair. So they need to look identical. And in the columns, if that was a 2-3 pair, that would be a 2-3 pair like that, and that would have to be a 2-3 pair like that. So that's how clones should work. A black dot separates cells containing digits in a ratio of 1 to 2, i.e. one digit must be double the other. So we've got some of those here. So if this was a 4, this would have to either be 2 or 8 to make sure that one of the digits was double the other. A white dot separates cells containing consecutive digits. We've only got one of those, so these need to be consecutive. So if that was 1, that would have to be 2. Not all possible dots are given, so it's absolutely possible for these 2 cells, for example, to be consecutive. There doesn't have to be a white dot between consecutive cells in the puzzle. It's just we know those 2 are definitely actually consecutive. The purple line contains a set of non-repeating consecutive digits in any order. So there is one purple line, and we know that those are consecutive. So imagine that was a 1, then these would have to be a 2-3 pair to make sure that the sequence is consecutive, and in fact it would have to be in that order. It would be ironic if this turned out to be correct. And on the grey line, the sum of the digits in box 1 is equal to the sum of the digits in box 2. So on this line, imagine these 2 cells added up to 8. They could be 2 and 6, for example. Then these 2 cells would have to add up to 8. That's a silly example because, of course, a white dot must contain cells that sum to an odd number because it's an odd and an even number being summed. So let's imagine they sum up to 9 instead. If these sum up to 9, these could be 4 and 5, and that would work. So that is all the rules. Do have a go. As I say, Sumanta's puzzles are very, very interesting as a rule. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual, but now I get to play. Let's get cracking. So we have got, what have we got here? 16 in 6 cells is jumping out at me a little bit, because the minimum I could make those 3 cells would be 1, 2 and 3, which add up to 6. So the minimum I could make those cells is also 1, 2 and 3. So the minimum I can make this diagonal is 12. So there aren't that many degrees of freedom. So I'm just wondering, because those 2 digits are obviously the same number. 10. Just wondering how big these can be. I think they might be able to be 5. If that was double 5, these cells would then have to add up to 6. Well, these cells would have to add up to 6, which would make them both 1, 2 pairs. So that does work. Okay, but they can't be bigger than 5. If these were 6, these digits would have to, those 4 digits would have to sum to 4, which would make them all equal to 1, which won't work. So these cells here have got to be 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. And the corollary of that is, of course, the blue cells are clones as well. And these 2 cells must have exactly the same property. In the sense, if I put 6 into those 2, these would all have to be 1s, and that won't work. So these are very low as well, which I guess propagates around the grid to there and to there. The phone is going bananas at the moment. Hang on, let me just check what this message is. Okay, that's not to worry about. What on earth do you do now? Hang on a minute. This is silly. This is totally intractable. What on? I mean, 24 is under much less pressure than the 16, and there are virtually no clone cells to think about. And the 9 cage, these could be high or low, basically. They just can't be 9. Whoa, hang on. I'm getting a horrible feeling that I've totally misunderstood this. Oh, okay. Well, at least I suppose we can say the 12 cage must be either 4, 8 or 5, 7. Because it can't be 3, 9. That really is the most useless deduction. And these 12 cages are totally... Oh dear, dear, dear. I'm starting to get the fear here because I have not got a Scooby-Doo. How do we do this? I'm starting to think it must be a set puzzle, because that's ordinarily where I go to when I'm completely and utterly bamboozled. But how do you divide this grid up to make useful sets? That does not look appetizing to me. And also, it's sort of... Well, what you sort of would want to do if you were doing that is to put the clones in different sets, wouldn't you? So that you could cancel them. But I don't... It's just impossible. I mean, if you included that row, for example, how would you try and get that in a different set in some sort of way that was useful and would allow you to cancel digits down? You can't do it. What on earth is this about? Oh dear, dear. Oh, hang on, maybe it's this. No, it's not this. It's not this at all. Because we even worked out that could be 1 when I looked at the example. So there's no real pressure on this digit. It could certainly be 8, because that could be 9. And that would be 7, and that's fine. So this digit is not under any pressure at all. That's not... No, this is some sort of set. It's something to do with set. But what I'm not thinking. I'm not even sure where to try and draw sets. I mean, I can draw sets that cover the greens and the reds. I can put the blues in a different set. Okay, that might actually be interesting. I'm just wondering about mod 3. That is an interesting idea. I would love it if this was true, because this is mental. Right, so how am I going to do this? I need to pick colours that are useful, that aren't going to sort of make this look completely... Oh, okay, that works. Okay, the purple seems to shroud... Oh, no, actually it doesn't work. For what I want to do, I want to sort of explain something here. I'll use light grey for these, and I'm going to use a different colour that hopefully will show the blue up. Is that showing? That doesn't really do it. This is really tricky. Because there's something I want to bring out here. Maybe I'll change the dark. Can I make that darker? Is it still? No, that's too dark. Oh, this is really tricky. I will try and do it, I think, with yellow and light grey. So just look at the yellow cells for a moment. Now, this is 3 complete columns of the Sudoku. So we actually know exactly what these digits are, because we know in a complete column of the Sudoku we're going to have the digits 1 to 9 once each. So these 27 digits, in total, we know. We know they're 3 sets of the digits 1 to 9. We do not know what order they go in, but we know that they are 3 sets of the digits 1 to 9. Now, the grey cells I've just highlighted, which is this row, and this row, are also 3 sets of the digits 1 to 9. So the grey cells contain the identical digits to the yellow cells. Now, these cells are in both sets. So I can remove these cells from both sets, and if I remove those both sets, we can say that what's remaining is still the identical set of digits, because we knew that our yellow set and our grey set were the same sets of digits, and I just took the same digits out of both sets, so they must still be the same. What we're left with, the residues, must still be the same. Now, what I've just seen here is that because you've always got 3 cloned dominoes in grey, it's hard to see, but those, I think, are all the same colour. I'm just going to get... Those are all green. These are all red. So if we look at the... what's remaining in grey in its totality, we've got 3 lots of cells that sum to 12. Well, 12 is divisible by 3. So these cells, collectively, which are in grey, are divisible by 3. Now, whatever the sum is of red, because it repeats here and here, those three digits, when summed, could be expressed as 3x. If these add up to x, then the sum of the red digits is 3x. So at the moment, grey is still divisible by 3. Now, these digits are the green digits, and there are 3 of those. So the sum of these can be expressed as 3y. So altogether, what's left in grey is definitely a number divisible by 3. When we add up all the digits in grey that are left, we get a number that's divisible exactly by 3. But now look at yellow. What's left in yellow contains these 3 dominoes, which I think are the blue cells, just covered up with a tinge of yellow. So that can be expressed as 3z. Whatever's in here, whatever's in those 2 cells will reappear here, reappear here. So together, the sum of those digits can be expressed as 3z, which is divisible by 3. Now, what is the nature of a black dot? Well, a black dot is such that one of the digits is double the other. So if one of the digits was a, the other one would be 2a. The sum of the digits on the black dot is 3a. 3a is divisible by 3. So these cells are divisible by 3. Those 3 together are divisible by 3. 9 is divisible by 3. So those 4 cells together add up to 18, which is divisible by 3. Which means that in order to preserve the fact that we know that the yellow and the grey digits are the same overall, we need this little domino to be divisible, or to the sum of these 2 cells to be divisible by 3, to ensure that the yellow and the grey digits overall are equivalent. And if this is divisible by 3, it's either adding up to 3, 6, or 9, but it's on a white dot, so it cannot add up to 6, because it's an odd and an even digit. It's consecutive cells. So it's not adding up to 6. It's either a 4-5 pair or it's a 1-2 pair. And it's not, oh, this is so brilliant. That's one of the cleverest break-ins I've ever seen. It's just amazing. This is a 1-2 pair. Because if that's a 4-5 pair, that 12 cage is impossible. That is, just take a bow right now, Sumanta. That is startlingly brilliant. I love things like this, because this is a puzzle I could never have solved myself a couple of years ago. I could have stared at this till kingdom come and not solved it. And yet now, because we know that there is this thing called set theory, and I'm sort of, I suppose I've done enough puzzles that when I'm completely and utterly flummoxed, I normally try and find sets. All of a sudden, a puzzle like this has some sort of tractability. Now, if this is a 1-2 pair, hang on, don't we know that those have to be adding to the same number? There was something about that grey line. I can't remember what it was. On the grey line, the sum of the digits in box 1, yes, is equal to the sum of the digits. So the only way these can add up to 3 is if they are a 1-2 pair as well, which means that that is not a 1 or a 2. Now, probably, he says, maybe prematurely. But I'm just wondering now if what I do is I get rid of all the colouring, because it's going to confuse me. I can't see the clone cells, so I'm going to do that. And this has become a 3, 4, or 5, which means that this is a 3, 4, or 5 by cloning. That's a 3, 4, or 5 by cloning. Ah, right. So on the 16 diagonal now, hang on, I'm just seeing I can do reds as 1s and 2s as well. But on the 16 diagonal now, these 2 add up to at least 6. So these can't be 5 anymore, because these would have to be 00. Can they be 4? If they were 4, that would be 8. Oh no, that would work. They could be 1. Bobbins. Okay, sorry, I was hopeful there, but I was prematurely hopeful. Right. What do I do now? That can't be 1 or 2. Oh, this is massive. This is massive. So now my lower blue digit cannot be 1 or 2 anywhere. And that means, yeah, this is massive. So now these are a 3, 4 pair, because I can't now make green this digit 5. If I make this 5, these add up to 10, and the minimum those 2 add up to is 6. So this would have to be 00. So that means we've got a 3, 4 pair in both boxes on the 16 diagonal, which gives us 14 of the 16 we need, and we get 1, 1. So that's 1, that's 1, that's 2, that's on a red clone, that's 1, that's 2, that's 1, that's 2. So 2 in this box is in one of those 2 cells. Oh, yes. Yes, okay, where does 1 go in box 5? By Sudoku it goes on the black dot, which means that cell's a 2, which means that cell's a 2, because obviously the only digit that accompany 1 on a black dot is a 2. You can't put a 0.5 in. So suddenly we have digits. And I tell you what I would absolutely love. Can that be a 2? No. I would absolutely love it if this collapsed now, because that would just be so. It would be so beautiful. Oh, there's a 2 on this thing. Oh, look, no, okay, this is. I see where this is going. Where does 1 go in box 3? Now, it can't go here because that equivalent is there, and that already sees a 1. So 1 in this box has to be in this domino, which is forcing 1. Look, there are now 4 1s looking at this box, and 1 is pushed into the corner where it accompanies the 2, gives us a 2 over here. I see, so this is a 1-2 pair. How is this not resolved? I sort of feel like it must be, but I don't see how to do it. I've got a bad feeling that I'm missing something very simple about that. But now, look, greens, I can get rid of 5s up here, and I can get rid of 5 here. But we don't know what the sum of this is. Okay. So this black dot now is not involving 1 or 2. So it's either 4, 8 or 3, 6. All of the black. No, okay, sorry, I'm not getting this now. What am I meant to do next? This 9 cage is not 1, 8 or 2, 7. So that is 3, 6 or 4, 5. Wow. Okay. I don't know. This 9 cage is the same, isn't it? It can't be 1, 2, so that's 3, 6 or 4, 5. Oh, I see. Right, hang on. Okay, look at these 3 digits. We know that they're the same by the cloning rule. I could use, I'll use the letters here. Hang on, let's do that. Whoops. So these I'm going to designate A. Where does A go in box 1? Look, well, by Sudoku it's actually forced into this square. So that's got to be a 3 or a 4. No, I was about to get excited about that, but oh no, hang on, that is a bit exciting, because that means A in this box is on the black dot. Whoops, hang on, let's put it in the corner so it's a bit clearer. A, yeah, this might be the way we have to do this, is sort of consider the cloned cells, because now A is in one of these 2 cells as well, which means A is on, so A is in the 9 cage, but it's also on the black dot. So A is 3 or 4. No, okay, that doesn't, I don't think that's telling us much more than we know already. Can we... Oh, A is in this 9 cage as well, because A is in one of these 2 cells in box 5. That's so strange. Okay, I mean, it's good, isn't it? But it's not really... Unless I'm mistaken, it's not blown the puzzle open. I have a horrible feeling I'm meant to appreciate something about A's being in these 9 cages, but I can't see what it is. Let's try the same thing, though, with the digit that we know in the blue thing. We'll make that one B. Do we know anything good about B? I don't know. I know B's in one of those two cells. So B is... Oh, B is in the 12 cage. That's interesting. Because it can't be here by Sudoku. And it's B is sort of being pinched into this 12 cage. So B... it would be much more useful if we knew B was in that 12 cage. Because now B we know is 3 or 4. So this 12 cage now we know is either 3, 9 or 4, 8. So there's a sort of virtual 3, 4 pair in this row. Right, can we do that somehow? We can, you know, we can do it. This is important. Where does B go in box 2? And it's got to go in one of those cells by Sudoku. But if that's got to be a B, that means B is in one of those two cells. Now this is huge, because B is 3 or 4. Well, if it's in here, it can't be 3, because that would need a 9. So B is 4. And if B is 4... I know that this 9 cage is not 4, 5 anymore. So this is 3, 6. A is 3, which is consistent with what we'd expect with given that B is 4. So A is 3. A is 3. We can put that in. A is 3. So this is A, and that's a 6. I wonder if this will keep going now. Yeah, hang on. I know. Yeah, okay, this is not 4, 5. This is... I mean, even though... I think we've done the hard work. This is not falling over and letting us tickle its tummy, is it? It is very, very interesting. Right, so now we know this is a 3, 6 pair, don't we? Because it's got A on it. Yeah, so that can't be 4, 8. So this is 3, 6. I know that B is 4, so this is 4, 8. So that is not 5, 7. So this, how do we get further then? 5, 7, 5, 6, 7 into this box. 5, 6 and 7 to place. And that's not 6. Okay. And I feel I've sort of lost track a bit now of where B's and A's are meant to be going. So let me think about this. Can we just... Well, we know that... we know B is 4, 8. So that's not 3, 9. This is 4, 8. I sort of feel like we must be able to do more than this. Oh, yeah, hang on. Look, 4 is in one of 2 cells in box 6. That's putting this as a 4, 8. So all of the 12 cages are 4, 8 cages. And I'm wondering whether what I'm meant to do now is to sort of label these cells up. Let's do that with C. So C, can we say something definitive about that now? We can say something small, because C has to be in this domino in box 1, I think, because it can't be 1 or 2. It already sees those in box 4. So it's definitely one of those 2 cells. Oh, this is great. No, this is perfect. Right, so where does C go in this box? It's got to go on the dot, which means C is 6. So C is 6, which means if C is 6, it must go here, because that can't be a 6. So that means I get a 6. I know that C is 6, so C is 6. I can fill those in. So there's a 6 down here now by Sudoku. Can I get the 6 in the middle box? Let's... Oh, is that... That's weird. So the 9 cages are reflected and rotated. No, they're just rotated, actually. They're just rotated green clones. So there's a 6 in one of those cells. How many 6s have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, right, so we're going to have to do more thinking to finish this off. Oh, but what I should do, of course, is complete... Why don't I do that one as well? I can probably get more information about D. So D has to be in... Can D be 4 or 8? I don't know. D in this box... It's not, D is not the same as A and C, is it? Because it sees A and C because they were the green digits. This is getting confusing. I will say that. So D is in one of those two squares, which means D is 8 because D is in the same cage now by Sudoku as B, which we know is 4. So D is 8. That's good. That's good to know. So D is 8. So D is 8. Is this somehow breaking the puzzle open for me? I'm feeling it's not. Oh, my phone's going again. Oh no. Okay. I'll have to leave that for a second or two. That's an 8 in one of these. Oh, okay. I was worrying that there weren't clues I hadn't used. Or that there were no more clues to use, but there is another clue. Look, I haven't used that, and I haven't used the Renban. Yeah, okay, let's think about that digit, because that must be under a bit of pressure. If that's a 3, that cannot be an 8, so this would have to be 3 and 4, which couldn't go with 2, because 2 is here, so it would have to go with 5. So it's either 3, 4, 5, or if this is 6, oh no, it could go with 6. It could go 6, 5, 4 as well, or it could go 6, 7, 8. So that cell is simply not able to be 8. That's the point. That is not able to be 8. So 8 gets placed in this box, which places my 8 and my 5. Oh, they're so clever. That's unwound the Renban as well. By forcing this to be an 8, it forces 8 here, which means this now must be 6 and that must be 7. That's absolutely beautiful. Sumanta has got such skill as a setter. It really is just an incredible puzzle, this. Now, has that done all the 8s? No, it still hasn't. There's still some 8-age to be done on the left and in the middle columns. Okay, but I haven't done this diagonal at all. I've now got 10. I've got 11 on this diagonal, so I need 13 more into those two squares. Right, so what I should do is label these up. This is 4, 5, or 9. And these have to add up to 13. So this is 4, 9, or 8. Now, it's not 8. Because of this 8, so that's not 8, which means that's not 5. So this is 4 or 9, and this is 4 or 9, and that's wonderful, except I don't know which one of those it is. That's not 4. Oh, I see. No, the simpler way of looking at it is to ask where 4 goes in this box, and that 4 is telling us the answer to that. That's the 4, which makes this the 9. Which means that's got to be B, because B was not 9, was it? Was B 4? Yes, B was 4, so that's got to be 4, which makes that 4, that 8, that 8. These two squares, 5 and 7, to complete the box. Is that somehow useful? I've got I've got a 5, 7 pair here. Oh, I see, so that's 9. Okay, I should have spotted that. So that's 5, that's 9. This is 7. These two squares are 5 and 9, I think. Now, can we finish the puzzle off? He says, hopefully. I've done. I think I've used all the clues now. So now is the time to get scared. That's got to be a 7 or a 9 by Sudoku, so that must be a 7 or a 9 as well. So look, in this column we still haven't really done enough. See, I don't know how we're going to differentiate all of these 5s, 7s and 9s. God, my phone's going again. Right, what are those squares? They are 5s, 7s and 9s, and that one can't be 9, and that one can't be 7. Is that helpful? The answer to that is no. Okay, what about... Oh, can I do something more with 3s? Yeah, look, I can get a 3 in this box. I hadn't spotted that. So these squares... Oh, of course, they're 5s, 7s and 9s, aren't they? What else would they be? So that's 5 or 9. So this is 5, 7. There's 5, 7s and 9s everywhere. That square is 5 or 7. I need some way of disambiguating these. I don't know what it is. But probably I'm also neglecting... Oh, no, we don't... I was wondering if I knew the order of this 1 and 2, but I don't think I do. I think this was just saying the sum of these digits is the same. Oh my goodness, that's a phone. I'll try and ignore that for a moment or two, but I might have to pick that up in a second. I find it really hard to ignore a ringing phone. 1, 2. This has needs 5s. This is a 2, 7 pair. So that's a 1, 5 pair. That's going to give us some digits at the bottom, isn't it? Let's see what we've got at the bottom now. This has got to be 3, 9. And that's got to be 5, 6. So if this is 3, 9, do we know the order of that? Somehow, some way? Do I know the order of the 2, 7 maybe, or the 1, 5? Of course not. I mean, I really don't. Oh, wow. Okay, no, I'm really getting quite stuck here. Let's click on the 9s and see if we can see how they're resolving. Ah, yes. Oh, this is something I find a lot. Oh, I'm getting phoned again. But I've cracked it now. This 9 sees that one, which is going to disambiguate all my 5s and 9s. I never see the black digits. I just don't see them. Hang on, I'm going to have to get this, aren't I? Sorry, I've just run upstairs again. That was the shopping man. Quite annoyed because I'd been apparently ignoring the door. And I then had to unpack all the shopping and put it all in the fridge, which I am absolutely abysmal at. But what were we doing? I was just getting some 9s in the grid. I think I basically finished it, hadn't I? Because I remember this 9 I'd ignored. So hopefully we're not far away from actually seeing the light here. It is going well. 3, 9, yeah, I was basically done. 9, 8. Those two squares have got to be 4 and 7, which I can just do. That's a 5. 4 and 8 must be done at the top. 7 and 2, 2 and 1, 1 and 5. Yay! So that is just a stunning puzzle. It is just a stunning puzzle. One of those puzzles that you know, as I said during the solve, if you don't know set theory, good luck. I mean, maybe there is another way of doing it, but I certainly was having zero inspiration when I was looking at the grid. And I have to say, these ideas using sort of modulo arithmetic, I think they're almost underused in Sudoku because they're so cool when you find them. And, you know, this little dot is the key because you can prove that the digits on it need to add up to something that's divisible by 3. And then this 12 cage ruling out the 4, 5 option. It's all been very carefully and deviously done. Loved it, Sumanta, again. So thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments how you got on. I do enjoy the comments, especially when they're kind. And we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.